Hello, my beautiful people. How you doing? I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it every time. How you doing? How you doing? Yes, you can see I'm in a bikini. I'm not going to lie. Been doing a bit of work, popping out, getting a few bits of sun rays, coming back in again. What can you do? It has to be done. I think it's going to be raining tomorrow. Hope you're having a fab bank holiday weekend. Welcome to the Isolation Guru, Cross Bedroom Guru with me, Nicky Allen. I was just thinking about yesterday, I drove through a road. I had to go for a bit of a drive because I was really a bit bored, to be fair. I went to the beach with the babies and then I went for a drive and I went through and I was going through this road and I was looking at houses because it looks out over the countryside that then leads to one of my favourite places, Elbury Cove, and I was just having a little scoot around. Perhaps I shouldn't, I don't care, but God, it's only a little drive. I didn't get out anywhere and spread my germs. And I went through a street party and they're all sitting outside their respective houses and there was a bloke playing a sax with some backing sounds and it was just really good, celebrating VE Day. What a shame, because it most probably would have been absolutely amazing. I have a real affiliation to the Second World War. And it was such a shame that it wasn't properly celebrated. Perhaps you might do something up to the lockdown, I don't know, but I just wanted to send my love and my thanks to those wonderful people during that time. And you know what, went with the VE Day celebrations, it also brought me back to the fact that there's a certain amount of community here that reflects that time, isn't there? There's perhaps a celebration of community. People are getting more connected. People are taking responsibility for other people, checking they're okay, sending love, doing this weekly applause. And to me, I wish it would stay forever. My biggest fear after all this is that everybody just goes back to normal and they don't learn anything from it. There's so many people that have come to me through messages and emails with epiphanies, and they're making life-changing decisions that they never would have ordinarily made because they're literally stuck in a situation with themselves, and they've made decisions. As I said a couple of videos ago, there's mostly going to be more weddings and divorces than anything after the end of this, because people are going to come into self-realisation, which I think is a fantastic thing. And I look out at the sea and see how clear it is, and I look out and see all these animals that are starting to come out a bit more because there's not so much excess noise from our pollution-based vehicles and noise and God knows what. And it's just such a beautiful space, and it almost reminds me of the spirit world, especially now I'm sitting here, or I can hear his bird song and the seagulls, and I can hear just the lull of the waves from the sea, and I think, my God, this is what I'd love to be in all the time. So I've been a bit selfish. I'm loving the lockdown. People are going to crucify me for that. Well, no, they're not. You'll understand, if you're a spiritual person or a light worker, you'll understand that, this peace, this love, this thoughtfulness, this sense of community is something that we're all aiming for. And that is why light workers are thriving in this environment and things are coming to fruition for them, because this is our energy. This is our energy, self-realisation, self-analysis, shadow work, seeing how we are. And we look at ourselves, most of us have done a lot of work in the past and go, we're doing okay, thank you very much, and everybody else is like, oh my God. And that's where I'm getting all the meltdowns in my email system, which is fantastic, because I'm helping so many people, and I'm so privileged and honoured to be able to do that through my online course and just through general help, my emails and these videos I do. So anyway, I've done my little soapboxy bits, and I came in and I looked at a few more emails, and I'm going to answer Caroline's question from Leicestershire, who asked me, what is a soulmate or a twin flame? Is there any difference, and what does it mean? How do you know if you're with one? Which is a really interesting question. I don't think I've actually answered it. I have touched on it, I think, in previous videos, but I haven't kind of delved into it. It's a really, really, really weird subject, and it's a very hard subject to deal with if you've connected with a soulmate and it's not running smoothly. Let me take you back to one of my older videos, which is what happens when we die, when I take you through the progression of what takes place after we pass, where we go, what happens to our soul, what angels we meet, blah 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 blah. And then once we've gone through our transition and our healing from our earth experience this time round, we then go to reality layer with our family. We kick around for a little while, get really bored because it's all so perfect. And then we go to the halls of learning, see our soul guide, go and see Metatron and go, we want to come back down, okay? Now, as you all know from my previous videos, there's a soul cluster system. So we are inherently connected. It's like loads of cells connected to one. It's almost like watching the beginning of a baby form, you know. There's loads of these cells, there's loads of these souls connected in a cluster, and that's what we were created in. So we're like this ball of energy and consciousness where we interlock together, okay, and nothing will break that. Our soul cluster is here to stay, okay. So in that soul cluster, there's almost like your twin. Okay, now lots of people say that twin flame is different from a soulmate, but I'm just going to kind of generalise it because it gets too deep to do with divinity and all the rest. I'm not going to go there with it. So I'm just going to say that soul flame and a twin flame are exactly the same. Okay, so in that mess, or it's not a mess really, is it? In this beautiful conjoining intelligence that also obviously forms part of the universe, you will have a twin. Okay, and all of us have got pairs within our soul cluster, okay, and then we'll have people that are closer or we tend to connect to or be attracted to that play major roles in our life when we go down on the earth plane. So they could be our mum, dad, lover, brother, whatever it is. Normally your soulmate will be the person that you have had intimate relationships with in a previous life, okay? So for instance, in a previous life you could have been married, loved each other and had wonderful time and been together forever, and then you've come back down again and you're not husband and wife this time around, okay? Your soulmate is someone that's perhaps just going to come into your life for a certain reason and disappear. You've decided to do this, okay, when you're up there. So we basically challenge ourselves to have different experiences with our soulmate, with our twin, okay? We've got a sixth sense of humour, I'll tell you that now. So let me just shelve that for a minute and go back to what it feels like to connect with a soulmate. Now, the confusion is with soulmates is your soulmate can be male or female. So you could be meeting your soulmate on the earth plane, same sex. So I've had many students in the past come to me in confidence, questioning their sexuality because they're absolutely obsessed with someone of the same sex, but they don't feel that they're gay. And they're in a lot of confusion, and I totally get it. The soulmate energy is someone who you meet that you look at and they just literally go bang in your head. You look at them and think, wow. And if it's a male and you're a female, male, if it's different sex, you're like, oh my God, I'm gobsmacked by this person. They could have every trait, human trait, that you don't like, right? They could piss you off, or they could do things, or they could even look completely different to who you are attracted to. But because it's your soulmate, because it's your soul cluster and someone that you know is your twin, you don't give a shit what situation they're in, who they are, what body they're in, what traits they've got. They could go against absolutely everything that you wouldn't want in a partner or a friend, but you don't care. You are so drawn to them, you can't help it, okay? And so no matter what crap is thrown in front of you, you have to be connected with this person, okay? So you'll think about them all the time. You'll be obsessed with them. If it's if it turns into a sexual situation, it will be explosive. It will be like nothing you've ever felt before, okay? It will be so mind-blowing that it will just astound you, okay? It's wanting to protect them, to love them, to fiercely do anything to make them happy. And it could happen really quickly. And also this can happen with a friendship. There doesn't have to be the sexual thing there. You could meet a friend who you know is part of your soul cluster, okay? And it turns out that they're your soulmate, so they're even closer to you. So you'll find such a massive love for this person, and this is where the same sex thing gets confused, because you almost think, well, am I in love with them romantically, or is it because it's such a passionate, such a strong love that you question your sexuality? You think, blimey, perhaps I'm in love with them. It doesn't matter what body they're in, you see. And some people do end up changing their sexuality to be with their soulmate. And perhaps this is part of what their experience was that they planned before they came down here. It's a it's inexplicable until you meet your soulmate, okay? The thing is, when you've met your soulmate, sometimes, as I say, you may have chosen an experience where you don't end up with them. So how do you know whether to hang on in with a soulmate if it's all going wrong and it's all, you know, all the odds are against you, and persevere with it, or just let it go and realise that they've either failed their mission or you have yours? This is the thing that you've got to work out. That's the hardest thing. So if you've got someone that you can't get rid of, and sometimes it could even be, this is why sometimes, you know, you get someone that you were a boyfriend and girlfriend in school, and then you suddenly meet up and they've always been on your mind forever and ever. There's always one, isn't there, unless you're with your soulmate, where you think, my God, I always think of them, and it's been 20 years, 30 years, and then they'll come knocking on the door, or they'll join you on Facebook, and then you end up marrying them. You know, it's your soulmate. They've introduced themselves, gone away, they've come back, and doesn't matter what in your head says don't do this, or it's a bit quick, or other people, your friends might go, Jesus, what's she doing? She's like going with him straight away. Soulmate. And there would be loads of you thinking, I don't know if I've met my soulmate. That means you haven't, because the other ones that are going, oh my God, I know what you mean, right? You've had your soulmate come into your life. And I know I've had one of my incarnations was with a man called Jonathan, at a place called Lupton in Devon, and I used to go through a phase of crying my eyes out when I woke up, because I used to dream of him for years and years and years, because I knew I hadn't met him yet in this life. I used to wake up, and I remember my ex saying to me, "Oh, you had another Jonathan dream?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have." And I just and I loved that man I was with, but this feeling of not being with my soulmate felt like I didn't have my arm. It's like a limb was removed, because I felt I hadn't connected with him in any way down here. And obviously I'm a bit more aware of that, because, you know, obviously with my my spiritual understanding, but I knew I hadn't met him yet. And it wasn't until I found him physically, and his name was Jonathan, and he was at Lupton House, and it wasn't until I found him out my previous life with him that I then realised, calm down, because you're in the right space, you're going to meet him again. You will meet him again. And then, you know, it comes to a stage where you see your soulmate and you think, that's him, that's Jonathan. And I've got this poignant memory of Jonathan, and I know that he's my soulmate and that he's with me every single lifetime. And I don't know if he does change sex or I do, but I've got that feeling that as soon as I see him, I know. Do you know what I mean? It's really weird. And this is what a lot of you would have experienced. Some of you may have been hurt by your soulmate. Some of you may have had a bad experience with your soulmate. And even if they were shitty to you, or you were shitty to them, they will remain in your heart for the rest of your lives. But what you've done is you've honoured your soul contract. Perhaps you've agreed to both this time not be together, to just see what it feels like, you know, because we get a sick sense of humour when we're in a utopia. We're up there and everything's perfect. We're like, well, I know, let's really hurt ourselves and have a really good human experience. Let's not be in love this time, you know. And so, God, I don't know why we do it, but we do it because we're so perfect up there and with our soulmate 24/7, and I suppose we get a bit bored. I don't know what it is. So how do you know when you've got to pull away from your soulmate because it's part of your soul contract? The only way to do it is through getting rid of the ego, which is the love, the desire, the temptation, the want, the need, and all that kind of stuff. You've got to get away from that. So the easiest way to get away from that is to get into a meditation state, so you can connect with your inner voice, your inner self. And so if you are well versed with meditation, then please get into meditation. Picture the person that you are looking at. This could, you know, they could be an abusive friend. They could even be your boss. They could be someone that you will do anything for, even though they treat you like shit, okay? In meditation, you'll be shown, hopefully, if you work at it, that this is either a behavioural problem, that you are entering into one-sided or codependent relationships, and there's not really your soulmate, you just want to have anybody because, you know, you need to be loved. Or you will find out and you will know deep inside, yes, this is my soulmate. It's all to do with going deep within. Again, guided meditations are going to be a way forward for this if you find it hard to meditate. Also look for spiritual sources such as, you know, do angel cards asking about your loved one or the person you're thinking of. Do tarot readings, and what you'll find is that you will get the same answers every time you do it, and that will basically be your synchronicity. Then look for other external sources to confirm that they are your soulmate and this is a soul contract, okay? So what I'm trying to say is if it is your soulmate and you know that you should be with them, okay, hang on in there and they will come to you. The universe will deliver them because they're supposed to be with you. However, if your inside of you knows that you adore them, or you know you can't let them go, but you really do know that you need to because it's not healthy, then you know that this is a soul contract that needs to be honoured and you need to walk away. It's a really, really, really hard thing, because anybody I speak to that have soulmate or twin flame connections are just like totally mind blown by it, and they don't know how to cope with it. If it feels unhealthy, should they stay or should they go? But then again, it's all about self-analysis and looking deep within, looking into your shadow self as well, making sure you're not making decisions out of ego. You need to make sure you're making decisions for the greater good from your intuition. Does that make sense? It's the only way I can explain it, Caroline, to you. It's the only way I can describe it. You've got to go deep within and feel like, yes, even though it's going to be hard, this is who I'm meant to be with, or this is who I'm supposed to have a friendship with, this is who I'm supposed to go into business with, because they could be helping you, business, love, friendship, you know, whatever way they want to come in, that soulmate. Or it could be a person that comes in as a friend and you end up intimate with them. I don't know. It's just really, I'm just trying to give you, it's really hard to describe this because I'm trying to describe emotion and I'm trying to describe intuition, and it's very hard to vocalize it. And I did try and sit on this before. As I read the email, I thought, Christ, how am I going to answer this? But you will know, if you've met your soulmate, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And deep inside, you know if you've got to honour that friendship or that soulmate, or you've got to, you know, skedaddle. That's entirely up to you. But you will find if you keep pushing something and it keeps going wrong, it means that the soul contract is that you're not supposed to be together this lifetime. If it keeps going wrong and wrong and wrong all the time, you know, there's got to be a limit to it. But you'll know when it's time. You'll know when it's time, and you'll think, you know what, I'm done here. You know, it'd be in my heart forever, but I'm done, okay? Or you'll know, this is worth it, I'm going to hang on in there, okay? You'll get synchronicity. The biggest synchronicity is seeing 1111. And if you're getting cards of Four of Wands, anything that shows two lines is basically showing twin flame, okay? So if you're seeing 1111 a lot, could even be 111, a push if they're not doing their synchronicity right, or like the Four of Wands, anything like that. It's like I sometimes watch tarot readings online because I love the cards. I didn't really used to like them very much, but I kind of got a little love for them because so many people have asked me to do them. I'm kind of loving the power of them again, and you know, I'm respecting it. I used to play with them in my teens, you know, and as a kid, and I used the original playing cards as the tarot cards that my nan taught me. But I kind of love the power of them, and you'll see in them, they'll say, keep going, this is your soulmate, keep going, this is your twin flame. And you're like, right, okay then, you think, Jesus. So then you obviously manifest that person and say, right, okay, I know it's my soulmate, I've seen the signs, I've seen the synchronicity, and then you just manifest you being together, and then the rest takes place, the universe arranges it. Okay, it's getting rid of the ego and acknowledging that person. It is hard if you've met a soulmate, come away, and then they're in your head forever, because that's what happens. They'll come up, or they'll be in your dreams even 20, 30 years on. And it is hard, but just try and focus on the fact that you will be connected again when you go back up, okay? They've got their life to lead and their experiences to lead, and so have you. It could even be that you end up reuniting when you're in your 60s or 70s. You just don't know, okay? But keep that in mind. I feel like most probably the difference is with a soulmate or a twin flame, the difference of a twin flame and someone in your soul cluster is that the people in your soul cluster will be reflecting. Say if you just met someone on the beach, right? I'm thinking the beach because I can hear the sea. So say like, you know, just on the beach and I start talking to someone we've got the same tastes, we're on the same, and they go, oh my God, that's just happened to me. Oh, I'm doing that as well. Oh, I love that as well. And you think, oh my God, you know, I've kind of really connected with this person. And then you end up doing something with them on a, you know, a project, or you end up meeting them regularly and they become a friend. And you know, you just feel like you've known them forever. That's kind of normally a soul cluster person that is really pleasant to be with. You've got everything in common and you feed each other positive experiences. You know, there's a mutual exchange of energy going on there, and they're just a really pleasant addition to your life, and you don't want them to go because, you know, you feel like they're part of you. They know you very quickly, and it's kind of a friendship that progresses quite quickly to a really lovely existence between you. And so that's generally soul cluster. You will find that most of your family, or all of your family, are part of your soul cluster. Whether you get on with them or not, you've chosen the experience of how to love or not to love people that are close to you as well, but they are part of your soul cluster. You'll get people that will come in and impact your life and go, wow, and then you'll never speak to them again. Soul cluster, okay, they've come in to conduct their soul agreement with you, that you've both agreed that they'll come in and help you deal with something and then disappear off again. Okay, so it's like, thank you very much, and then they're getting off doing their life. But when the twin flame comes in, that is it. Your world stops, and there is nothing on your mind but that person. What are they doing? How are they? What can I do to make them happy? What can I do to love them? You will just be obsessed with them, and people won't understand it. And even if it's like a dodgy beginning, there'll be people like, you mental, go, no, it's my soulmate. I know he is, or I know she is. I know, and you will know. I'm telling you, you will know. I would love for you, please put comments below about whether you've connected with your soulmate or not. I really want to see how many people understand what I'm talking about here, and I hope, Caroline, that I've made it clear. Yeah, so something that's just come into my mind. Well, what about the people we do meet that we adore and we love, and they're not our soulmate? Good question. I wish nobody had put that in my head, but they're going to. So we're going to complicate it even more. Right, so people that we love, people like, for instance, yes, thank you, Christ, couldn't think of the answer then. Someone's just popped it in there. Thank you, darlings. I think it's Catherine. So people that, because I remember the first time when I was doing readings way back, like when I was 22, 21, 22, and this woman had 4 husbands, right? 4 husbands. I think there were 2 died, 2 divorced, right? Bless her heart, poor cow. So I'm like, shit. So I've never had it before. So I'm like talking to these bloody husbands up there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's like Jeremy Kyle. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, well, which one's the soulmate? She's had 4. Do you know what I mean? And the weird thing is, I would have thought it would be one of the ones that passed over. Do you know what I mean? That she adored and they got bloody taken. It was part of their experience, but it wasn't. It was she'd one had passed, and then she got married to someone, and then he was an arsehole, and I think he was like a bit of a philanderer or something, if I remember rightly. And then so she got rid of him. Then she had another one who died, and then she got divorced. And she's on her own again, right? And it turns out it was the one that she divorced was her soulmate, the philanderer, right? And I'm like, okay. And so she goes, despite the fact that all the other husbands, apart from the last one, you know, people that died, adored me and they made me so happy, she said, nobody replaced the love and the passion and the energy that I had for man number 2. I absolutely was obsessed with him, and he will never leave me to my dying day. She goes, I hate to say it because he hurt me so much, but he is my soulmate. And so when I went up and said, she mental, because he was the one that was the biggest arsehole. And then, I'd say it as it is, let's be fair, right? And so, who was it who came in? I can't remember. Juliana's came in, one of them came in, and he goes, this is the one. And so he kind of showed this star, right? This star in the heart chakra. And it was like, that was her twin flame. But they decided this time that it would be an abusive relationship just to shake it up a bit. I'm like, Christ, sick people. What is wrong with you puppies? Oh my God. So yeah, so I thought, wow. So then what happened was, every time I then started doing readings where people had multiple loves, right, I would perhaps bring up all their past relationships in a reading, and then I would see the one with the star, right, and I'd go, that was your soulmate. That's the one that if he came back now, you would just drop everything and go with him and go, oh my God, yeah, how did you know? Right? And so I knew what this soulmate thing was. This bloody, it's a bit like, oh my God, what is it called? Oh my God, I can't think of the bloody name. Macabre. Oh, what is it called? I can't think. You know that one, which is like the star. You see it a lot in Turkey. Oh my God. Macabre, I can't remember the name. You know what I'm talking about, that one. And it just shines gold, right? And so that means twin flame to me. So I know that that's your ultimate soulmate, your twin flame, your twin of your soul cluster. And so it's a marvellous thing that I can bloody see it. Can't see it for myself though. No, I can't. But I can feel it and I know it. So yes, the difference is that your ego will love that person, all right, even if they're not your soulmate. So your ego will love them, want to be with them, fancy them, or whatever. Okay, so you could spend 30 years, right? Another one, let me give you another experience just to let you know. There was a lady, and she was an elderly lady. I did a reading for her. It was in a home environment. I used to go to intimate evenings, right, and I used to bloody love them. Go there and there was like wine and buffet, and that was nice, having a little wine after. And I used to sit and bring messages from Spirit World and do readings for a group environment, and it used to be an exceptionally, and that's why I called them intimate. It sounds a bit dodgy, innit? Going for an intimate evening, bring them a box of tricks, which were cards and crystals, I might add, and they used to be wonderful, very intimate and very lovely. And there was this older woman there, and we tend to forget, you know, that they were young. They had passion, they had affairs, and, you know, they were young, vibrant women that were sexually active. But when you look at them when they're in their 70s, 80s, you're like, okay then. So anyway, this lady, bless her, she was with somebody, I think she was in her 80s, really old lady, but she was there and she was very young for her age, okay? And I looked at her and you'd think, you know, perhaps you'd bring up details of her husband, or you know, what happened with her grandchildren, all that kind of nice stuff. But no, this man came in, he was so handsome, right? He had this moustache, I won't forget, and he had an army uniform on, right? And what happened is that her first husband died in the war, right? And then she was married to the husband that then she had her kids with. So she was married to him for like 40 years, 45 years, right? But the man who died in the war, and she'd only been with him for about 9 months, you know how quick they used to get married then, right? He had the star, right? And that was a soulmate. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to call him David, right? And I said, David is the love of your life, darling. And I said, and I'm not taking it away from your family or your grandchildren that are here, because I'm thinking, I'm going to get myself in the shit here, right? I said, but your husband, say it's called Fred, your husband Fred acknowledges that he's now with his soulmate, right? And David says he's here waiting for you, but you're not coming yet. And everybody laughed. But all the family knew of David, the love of her life, who died in the war. But she loved Fred in a different way, but it wasn't her soul connection. Does that make sense? Hence, also people with ego, perhaps who are in the wrong relationship, been in it for ages, but they're too scared to change it, so they miss out on seeing their soulmate. So they may meet him or her in a bar, and they may have a connection, but they're so scared to change their life, they pull away from it. And that was, again, either they failed the soul contract, which they'll have to sort out later on, or that was the soul contract. You won't know that till you go up. So when you go up, Jeremiah, who does your life review, will go, oh my God, what were you thinking? You were in a miserable relationship, you were married for like 20 years, whatever it was, 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is, you're not happy, but you're too scared to change. So we knew this was going to happen, so we brought your twin flame in to meet you, to change this and for you to go with them, but through your own ego, your fear, you didn't go with them. So you spent your whole life miserable. So you failed it, and so did he or she. So you failed it. So we need to work on that next time. You haven't got any choice. You've got to go back through and do that again. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, right? But normally you'll have your own plans. I want to do this, I want to do it. But they say, well, no, you fucked that up. So you've got to go back down and do it again. So you've got to put yourself again through a loveless marriage to wait for the bloke to rock up. And if you don't do it then, it'll come again. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to keep waiting, you've got to keep doing it. You've got to keep doing it until you've rectified that part. And the rest of your soul cluster, I'm like, really? Get your head around it, for Christ's sake. Well, I can't help it because I've got a human ego when I go down there. That's not an excuse. Get over yourself. Do you know what I mean? And so the more you balls it up, right, on the next incarnation, you'll get even more signs like, leave her, leave him, this person is really good for you. All these signs and 1111s and synchronicity. And you'll be like, oh no, back up again, back down, back up, back down. And your soul cluster want to throttle the life out of you. They can still change their experiences, but they're still waiting for you to get it and change it. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen this and they show me it, and it looks so funny up there because they show me these souls go back up and go, sorry, go back and do it again. It's like, go back and do your 100 lines, go and do your detention. So it is a beautiful, beautiful thing that I have. Feel quite emotional because I can see souls go up and souls come back down, and that is what gives me the strength to endure losing people who pass over, because I know where they are, I know what's happening, I know I'll be with them again, and I know that we'll come back down and incarnate in this crazy, chaotic world. And so I'm very lucky because I know that 100%. And this is why I do these videos. This is why I keep pushing to give you this enlightenment and this knowledge, so that when you go through loss, when you go through any type of grief, whether it's losing someone in a relationship or losing someone, you know, losing their life and you having to deal with that, it's getting that spiritual knowledge. It doesn't save you from grief, but it bloody helps you. Do you know what I mean? So that's... I really hope I've got this across as easy as I can, because it's really difficult to explain. So the biggest thing you need to do is if you're getting grief with the soulmate, you need to go inside and see if it needs to be, if it's driven through intuition or ego. That's what you've got to work out, and that's going to be the hardest thing you'll ever do, okay? And also, if opportunities keep coming up where you are given an out, then that's probably a sign for you to be told this isn't right. It's a very difficult thing, because love, lust, passion, wants, desire, temptation are all very strong forms of the human self. The problem is we've got to extricate that and look deep within to find out who is right for us and who isn't. Okay, hence why most probably loads of people have divorces. If you're not supposed to be with your soulmate, that's fine. You just have to honour that and do the best you can with your life. Come this way, because you're going to knock the camera. It's like Mia this time. It's going to be Teddy, isn't it? Let's start kicking off. No, up here. Here. Go on, jump. God, if she had a brain, I swear to God. Bless her heart. So, yes, it's knowing the difference and honouring it. But all I can say to you is, if you have met your soulmate and you're with them, my God, you're so lucky, because it will be the most intimate, most connected relationship of your life. As I say, it could be a friend, a work colleague that you adore, or your lover, your husband, your wife, whatever. But it will be someone that you can almost, it's the one where you finish the sentences. It's the one where you feel what they're feeling when you're not even near them. It's the one that if you say something, you can almost hear their answer in their head. You know them inside out, and you've known them forever, and you've had them in one previous life after another. Okay, they've been in your life, you know them, and you'll know them straight away. You'll know it as soon as you see it, I guarantee it. Do you know when they say, oh, how did you know it was the one? I just know. I've got a feeling that's because they were faced with their soulmate and they said, I'm going to marry that girl. You know, you hear it so much. I hear so many lovely stories like people in wartime. I'm going to marry that girl, and 5 days later they're married and they're together 50 years. You know, it's because they've got less ego, I think, during those days. You know, it's all about standing up for the country, doing what's right, and just focusing on that. And there wasn't all this ego and crap and technology and shit everywhere. And so when they saw their soulmate, they went for it, and they were married within a week or whatever. I know obviously it was sped up because of the war, but Jesus, and then they're there together for 50 years. Some of them weren't soulmates, some of them were. You just, you know, I can't really go into it anymore, because I'm just going to be putting myself around in circles, and I've now reached 34 minutes already. Where does the time go? So I hope that answers your question, Caroline. Please let me know. And I'd love to hear your comments below about this, because I think it's a really, really lovely, but also a very heart-rending subject that's either ripping you apart or making you feel so amazing. It's totally untrue, you know. So let me hear your love stories. Let's fluff it up a bit, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. So enjoy the rest of the bank holiday weekend. I didn't even know it was bank holiday until yesterday morning. And enjoy the sun, which is what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to go and work on a few rays, come back and do a bit more work in a minute. So thank you to everybody that's joined me. Welcome. And as I always say to the new subscribers, if there's anything you want to know about or me to address, please leave them in the comments below. Okay, have a lovely day. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I really hope that I've kind of got it across what I needed to say about soulmates and twin flames. Until the next time, love you all, my beautiful family, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.